Looking at Frederick School today, you would never have guessed the story behind it. It was built in 2000 and is fairly new compared to the other nearby Grayslake schools, as it is only 16 years old. When looking on the property today, all you see is a large two-story building accompanied by a small brownish house. Little do people know that the property was once a home to an aspiring dentist and even a famous local businessman and his family many years ago. Mabel and Edward Bixler were a local couple many years ago in Grayslake. Edward was born September 14, 1904 and attended Libertyville High School. Edward then moved on to University of Chicago and eventually Northwestern University School of Dentistry, in which he graduated in 1927. The two were married in 1930 and moved on to what we know today as Frederick School property. There, Dr. Edward Bixler opened up his dentistry practice, which became known as a Whole House. He began his practice and his career on that property up until he moved out onto Belvedere Road in 1939. The house was then sold to the Frederick family in the 1960s.
Do you remember what the property used to look like when they owned it?
The property over there,
Yeah, like the Frederick one?
the house is still there. Then you'd come in and I think it was a circle driveway and you'd go down past the house, turn right, and there's where the barn was, right there.
So that house that's still there, I think it's a district office now, but
Yeah.
that was their actual house?
That was where the boys lived.
You know that it says, that they tried to get, I think it was one of the sons tried to get a Skokie Valley plant here, like in Grayslake, but a lot of people didn't want it.
Yeah, they didn't want that in here. Johnny and them probably would know a whole lot more than me. They hung around with Don quite a bit more than I did, and Don was always around the Frederick.
Was he close to him, pretty good friends with him?
Don, my brother Don, he knew Edwin Fredericks like the palm of his hand. They used to, I believe, drink together over there in the barn in the old farmers' days, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Don was his right-hand man there for many, many years. Till they got much bigger and bigger and bigger, you know, and then he fell along the wayside with that scandal, you know. Then pretty soon it was, the boys took it over.
All was going well for the Frederick family until Mr. Frederick was accused of bribery allegations and owed around $270,000 in personal taxes and $140,000 in fraud penalties. This did not include the $200,000 his company owed in taxes nor the $150,000 the company owed in penalties.
Looking at the town today, you would have never believed it held such vital history to our small town of Grayslake. Today, the property is occupied by a well-known middle school in the area. Although many of the teenagers and even young adults who went to school in the area attended Frederick School, many never thought twice about the history the property holds. People would never have known that where the school stands now was once the beginning of Edward Bixler's dentist career. Nor would many know that the current district office was once the childhood home of the Frederick brothers, Larry and Richard, and their parents Edwin and Miriam, who ran the one and only Liberty Asphalt Company that the entire town was more than familiar with. The relatively new school that now stands on the property is only a portion of Grayslake's history, but will always be remembered as the Fredericks' home.